Welcome to This Explainer, where we're jumping right into what I can honestly only describe as a geological true crime story. This is a mystery that has completely baffled the greatest scientific minds for decades. It literally keeps geologists up at night. We're talking about a massive gap in the actual fabric of our planet's history, and I promise you, it's going to completely change how you look at the ground beneath your feet. To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, imagine waking up tomorrow, walking over to your bookshelf and pulling out your most private, detailed life journal. But when you open it up, you realize someone has meticulously taken a pair of scissors and just snipped out every single page from the time you were 10 years old right up to your 25th birthday. Exactly 15 years of your life, just gone, neatly cut out. You'd probably think some secret organization broke into your house to wipe your memory, right? I mean, it would be absolutely terrifying. Well, it turns out our planet has a missing diary too. But Earth's gap isn't just a mere 15 years. No, it's a staggering 1.5 billion years of completely erased history. Just let that number sink in for a second. The Earth is a little over 4.5 billion years old, which means roughly a whole third, of our planet's entire existence has just vanished into thin air.
Okay, part one, the crime scene, the Grand Canyon. Let's head over to the primary location of this anomaly.
If you've ever seen photos of the canyon, or if you've been lucky enough to visit, you know its most spectacular feature is those beautiful multicolored bands of rock stacked up like a massive geological layer cake. Normally, these layers act exactly like the pages of a history book. It's pretty simple logic, really. You read from the oldest pages at the bottom, and as you move up toward the surface, you're traveling forward in time through the newer layers. Each layer gives us a specific, measurable era in Earth's timeline. But here is where the story gets incredibly weird. When scientists examine the Grand Canyon, they find a very clear layer from the Cambrian period. It's about 500 million years old, packed with fossils of early marine life. Now, according to basic logic, if you brush away the dirt and dig just 1 single centimeter below that 500 million year old layer, you'd expect to find rocks that are, say, 600 million or maybe 700 million years old, right? But when geologists actually measure the rock immediately beneath that dividing line, it instantly jumps to 2 billion years old. What's truly wild about this is the absolute zero trace of what happened during those missing 1.5 billion years. We're talking about an enormous chunk of time, yet there is no sand, no transitional fossils, not even any ancient dirt left behind in that space. It is literally as if a giant cosmic eraser was taken to the planet, just rubbing out 1.5 billion years of planetary memory, leaving one rock resting directly on top of another from a vastly different era. This terrifyingly blank space in our planet's history isn't just some local quirk. It's a recognized, massive scientific anomaly. And it has an official, chilling name: the Great Unconformity. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate cold case of the geological world. Which brings us to part two, a global memory erasure event. At first, scientists really hoped this was just a localized glitch at the Grand Canyon. But as researchers fanned out and checked geological sites globally, they discovered something that sent absolute shockwaves through the scientific community. From the continent of Africa to the towering Alps in Europe, across vast stretches of Asia, honestly, even deep beneath the bedrock of your own backyard, they found this exact same chunk of time completely missing everywhere. This wasn't just the Grand Canyon forgetting to write in its diary. This was a global, collective memory erasure event. To really put this scale into perspective, let's look at the dinosaurs. We usually think of the dinosaur era as this incredibly long, dominant chapter in Earth's history, right? Well, the entire reign of the dinosaurs, from their very first appearance to their catastrophic extinction, lasted less than 200 million years. That means this erased gap of 1.5 billion years is long enough for dinosaurs to evolve from scratch, rule the world, and go entirely extinct more than 7 times over. It's a time gap so unfathomably huge that scientists have even playfully and kinda seriously mused could highly advanced ancient civilizations or high-tech cities have risen and fallen during this time. The crazy thing is, we literally never know, because the physical record has been entirely, mercilessly wiped clean. So the crucial question we have to ask ourselves is this: who, or rather what, could possibly execute a planetary-scale reset? What kind of unimaginable, apocalyptic natural force could literally peel off the entire outer crust of the Earth all at once? Moving to part 3, the 2 crazy suspects. Over years of intense debate, geologists have narrowed it down to 2 incredibly dramatic events. And neither of them are gentle. Here is our ultimate geological lineup. Suspect 1 is a violent, freezing scenario known as snowball Earth. And suspect 2 is a cataclysmic, earth-shattering event known as supercontinent breakup. Let's break down exactly what these forces would have actually looked like. Let's start with suspect 1, snowball Earth. This theory suggests that during this missing period, the planet suffered the most brutal ice age imaginable. We're talking freezing entirely solid from pole to pole, like a giant cue ball. Imagine glaciers that were several miles thick covering the continents. As these colossal ice sheets slowly shifted over millions of years, they acted like automatic global bulldozers. They meticulously scraped away billions of years of rock, dirt, and history, grinding it all down and pushing it straight off the continental shells into the deep oceans. Basically, a total deep freeze planetary exfoliation. Now let's look at the second suspect, which paints a totally different picture. Imagine a time when all the Earth's land masses were merged into one giant supercontinent. Then, immense tectonic forces beneath the crust caused this supercontinent to violently tear apart. This would have triggered apocalyptic volcanic activity, pushing up jagged mountain ranges as tall as the Himalayas all over the globe. With these new, massive mountains completely exposed to the elements, hundreds of millions of years of extreme global rain and weather caused severe erosion. It would have literally washed 1.5 billion years of rock history straight down into the sea. And that leads us to part 4, foreshadowing life's origin, the twist. Because the most fascinating part isn't just how the rocks were destroyed. You see, you can't just delete billions of tons of rock from the Earth's surface. It has to go somewhere, right? Well, scientists have recently found thrilling clues in deep-sea tectonic subduction zones. All that missing rock, whether it was pushed by ice or washed away by rain, sank into the deep oceans. And when it did, it dumped a massive, highly concentrated cocktail of minerals and chemicals right into the seawater. This sudden influx of nutrients actually inadvertently catalyzed one of the most important events in our planet's history, the Cambrian explosion. This was the rapid, spectacular birth of complex marine life, literally the dawn of our ancient, distant evolutionary ancestors. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, but it leaves us with a profound, lingering question. We are essentially looking at the very mechanics of our own existence here. Where exactly in the deep, churning mantle of the Earth are those stolen memories hiding right now? And honestly, isn't it incredible to think about how an apocalyptic event, one that violently wiped out 1.5 billion years of planetary history, was ultimately the exact catalyst that gave birth to complex life and eventually to humanity? It turns out, sometimes you really do have to completely erase the past to write the future.